guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here, and today I wanted to start a reading vlog of me reading Babel by R.F. Kuang because I can already tell that this is going to be a 5 stars and I really want to document my journey on finishing this book. I don't even know what to say. It's opening my eyes a lot.
In Oxford.
Society.
A little bit boring. I'm already about 200 pages in. I want to document my thoughts while I read this book because I think this is going to be a very special book that I want to look back on. Right now I'm going to the library. Hopefully I can read a lot. So far I really like our main character Robin. He grew up in China and he I'm gonna try to explain what is going on in this book if you don't know already. Our main character, his name is Robin and he is Chinese, and one day all his family dies from a disease and a mysterious professor shows up at his door. So he follows the professor to England and starts studying, and eventually he gets into Oxford to their famous translation school, which is called Babel. I thought it was called Babel, but the audiobook says Babel, so it's Babel. So while he is at Oxford studying, he runs into a moral dilemma on joining the resistance. In this world, there's this thing called silver bars. I'm still trying to learn how they work exactly, but these silver bars are what is powering everything in the country. And in this world, England is the most technological, advanced, and wealthy nation in the whole world. And it does have some tensions with countries like China and India. This book touches on a lot of themes that we see in today's society, especially our current political climate. It's super relevant, so it's kind of eerie to read about, but also it's opening my eyes a lot. And I just really like how relevant it is to our current world and how it touches on so many fundamental social issues. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen next. He is introduced to the resistance group, so we're still trying to see what he does with that group. Anyways, I hope that kind of explains what the theme's about this book, so let's go read. I also need to do some volunteering at the library, and I think the library closes at 6 o'clock, which means it's currently almost 3. So that means I have about 3 hours to volunteer. I'm probably gonna take an hour and a half to do that. I'm just gonna read until the library closes. This is my bag and packing my book.
Hale and healthy as can be. Anthony, Robin blurted. Sight. Robin stared around for several seconds, then returned to the bookshop, wandering in Oxford, which meant either he'd been lied to, they'd been informed they'd have to devise a unique match pair and engrave it in.
I'm home now and I just ate dinner. Not much of a reading update because I ended up only reading like 20 pages at the library, and I just listened to the audiobook while I was cooking dinner, and I just started reading a little bit, and now I'm on page 237 on chapter 14. It's still really good, and I do think that people are right that at times some parts of this can feel a little bit boring and slow because they're just talking about academics. Kuang is describing the magic system and also the importance of language and translation in a very technical and specific way. And it's just a lot of it. Personally, I find that it's a little bit boring. Like, I wish it was shortened a little bit, but I don't mind it so much that it's impacting my reading experience. And I found a quote that I really like on page 217. "You have such a great fear of freedom, it's shackling you. You've identified so hard with the colonizers, you think any threat to them is a threat to you. When are you going to realize you can be one of them?" Wow, that quote just stunned me. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep reading. It's currently 9:30. I'm trying to sleep around 11:30, so I'm gonna try to read for 2 hours.
Teach the Chinese about the difficult Western concept of free trade.
This society, founded in November 1834, was created with the goal...
"We're delighted to have you working with us," said Mr. Bayliss to Robin at the first course. A bland, gingery soup was served. "It's so hard to find good Chinese translators. Be interpreting for me during my audience with the commissioner."
Reading update. I have about 200 pages left. I'm on page 354, which is just 2 pages away from chapter 21. And I just want to say, our Kwong is such a genius on how she came up with this magic system about silver bars. And just to explain a little bit on how the bars work using language and translation and the origin of languages, here is an example. In the book, they're using silver bars to own slaves and how they do that. Here they explain the Latin capital derived from caput becomes the Old French chattel, which in English becomes chattel. Livestock and property become wealth. They write that on the bars, daisy chain it with the word cattle, and then they fix those bars on iron chains so that the slaves can't escape. And that's just an example of how they use words to put power into the silver bars to make it work. That is just so insanely genius, the way she just came up with this, and the amount of research our Kwong must have put into this book on researching on all the different origins of the words and the meanings and where they came from and the history and how they translate into other languages. I think that is just super impressive, and I'm just constantly wowed by Kwong's brain, just how she thinks. I'm just like, wow, like I've never read anything like it before. So far, I am still really enjoying this book. This is how much I have left. Something really bad just happened to one of the characters. I don't want to spoil too much. And then something else, like a really big secret, just got revealed to another character. And so now they're trying to explain themselves. They're starting an argument and things are getting really spicy. We might be going to a war. I want to read some of other quotes that I really liked, because there are just so many good quotes that I tabbed. Okay, here is a scene / quote that kind of references to white passing privileges. So our main character, I assume he's Asian because he is described as white passing even though he came from China. But I think his father is white. So here he is arguing with another student that is brown. He didn't have to say why. Robin, whose father was on the faculty, could pass for white under the right lighting at the right angles, was shielded in a way Rami and Victoire were not. If Rami or Victoire had faced the police last night, they would have been on this ship. They would have been behind bars, or worse. And I guess that also goes into just white privileges, not even white passing, just white privilege. And then here is a critique on imperialism. Free trade, this was always the British line of argument. Free trade, free competition, an equal playing field for all. Only it never ended up that way, did it? What free trade really meant was British imperial dominance. for what was free about a trade that relied on a massive buildup of naval power to secure maritime access. Mere trading companies could wage wars, access taxes, and administer civil and criminal justice. Yeah. Just so many good quotes. I'm not gonna bore everyone, but I'm just gonna keep reading, and hopefully I'll give another update after 100 pages. It is a few days later and I have finally finished Babel by R.F. Kuang. I have so much to say about this book. I don't even know where to start. This, first of all, 5 stars. Maybe even 6 stars. I would have given it 6 stars, but I wasn't quite satisfied with the ending. I agreed with it, but I still didn't like it. It was tragic, which I loved, but it's just, the ending makes so much sense that it hurts. But I'm glad it's not conventional and it was realistic. But I don't know, I'm really torn on the ending. But let's talk about this book overall. There are just so many themes and the world building is amazing. The character development we got in this, the found family, everything was so perfect, and the writing as well, very beautiful. And I am just overall, I think I already said this, but I'm very impressed by Kuang's ability to think of these things and be able to weave them all together beautifully. Not only is the magic system and the world building very, very unique, it's based on the real power of translation and linguistics and the origin of languages and how they translate throughout different languages, and how racial division is shown through the differences of languages. And I think languages is such a perfect way to depict that. This book heavily talks about colonialism and imperialism, racism, white supremacists, classism, misogynist. So many different critical societal themes and issues are relevant in this book, which is also relevant to our today's world, especially important in our political climate right now. There are just so many mirrors. There are actual history citations in this book with footnotes, so at the same time you're also getting a little history lesson. I just love all the characters so much. There are so many good quotes. The characters felt really real. They often come across very serious moral dilemmas throughout the book, and that was really interesting to read. I especially really liked our main character Robin. He really resonates with me because we share a lot of identity and background. I have a very similar background and experience to Robin, who moves from China to England at a very young age and having to study and assimilate into a Western country. I have felt all of the feelings and thoughts and struggles that Robin has gone through by being an immigrant. So I just really like Robin, and not only him, I also really like Rami. He's hilarious, perfectly written character with so much personality. And even Victoire and Letty. I thought Letty's character was very, very interesting. And I really like reading about her. And Victoire is just so brave, so smart, and so strong-willed. I'm really impressed by Victoire. Overall, I just love this book. I really think everyone should read this. There is some truth when people say they get bored throughout the book or that it was very informational heavy. There are times where I feel like R.F. Kuang was just describing the linguistics, technicality, and just the knowledge, and just basically explaining translations is a little bit dragged out, but it wasn't that much that it really affected my reading experiences or that I docked any points off of that. I will say towards the ending, maybe the last 50 pages, I thought it was a little bit slow. Okay, maybe the last 80 pages. I thought it was a little bit slow, and for what the ending was, I understand it. It's supposed to be slow, but I was kind of bored towards the end, even though I feel like I was expecting something really fast-paced and thrilling towards the end of a fantasy book. But it was pretty slow-paced, and which makes sense if you have read this book. But that is just something that I found. I think this book is as good as people make it sound, and I think people who heavily criticize on this book just doesn't get it. I can ramble about this book on and on forever, but gonna leave with that now. Highly, highly recommend. And that is today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this reading vlog, and I hope to see you in my next video.